Welcome. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to tonight's Acts 2 workshop, Creative Caregiving for Loved Ones with Dementia during the holidays, strategies to increase comfort and joy. I'm Dr. Rob Glukoff, servant leader of the Acts 2 project and professor, Florida State University College of Medicine. In case you are unfamiliar with the term Acts 2, it stands for African American Alzheimer's Caregiver Training and Support Project 2. Folks, I am excited about the prospects of tonight's Acts 2 workshop. This workshop will offer practical and easy to use strategies to increase comfort and joy in caring for loved ones with dementia during the holidays. Our first presenter, Whitney Scott, will provide guidelines to facilitate holiday planning among family members. She also will discuss how to optimize communication with and meaningful involvement of loved ones with dementia during the holiday activities, as well as how to reduce stress during car travel. Our second presenter, Jacqueline Edwards, will share her experience in organizing holiday events for her dear mother with dementia, and family members, and provide tried and proven suggestions for facilitating enjoyable interactions. Our third presenter, Tamika Norton-Brown, will provide information about culturally responsive skills training and support for family caregivers of older adults with dementia, as well as dementia care resources. Before I introduce this evening's presenters, I want to recognize our partners who've contributed both resources and guidance in the development of the Acts 2 Dementia Caregiver Workshop Series. Acts 2's primary collaborators are the African Methodist Episcopal Church, 11th Episcopal District, the Florida General Baptist Convention, the Florida Progressive Missionary and Educational Baptist Convention, the Florida Church of God in Christ, and the Florida State University College of Medicine. Turning now to tonight's presenters, we have three inspiring speakers. Our first presenter, Whitney Scott, is coordinator of the State-Supported Memory Disorder Clinic at Tallahassee Memorial Healthcare. Whitney obtained her Bachelor of Social Work degree from Florida A&M University in 2022 and her Master of Social Work from Florida State University in 2023. She is currently pursuing her clinical social work license. Whitney feels strongly about promoting the voices of persons living with dementia and their family caregivers. In her role as clinic coordinator, she routinely provides information to persons with dementia and their family caregivers about evaluation, intervention, and community resources. She is a highly sought-after public speaker with expertise in social services and dementia care. In her limited spare time, Whitney is actively involved with her church, exercising, and spending quality time with her son, Aston. Our second presenter, Jacqueline Edwards, is administrative assistant at Florida A&M University College of Pharmacy. She holds a Bachelor of Business Administration from Florida A&M University and a Master of Library and Information Science from Florida State University. Jacqueline is currently a competency trainer for Twin Oaks Forensic Outpatient Service, where she works with youth and teenagers. She is a strong Christian and member of Unity Baptist Church in Tallahassee. Jacqueline was the primary caregiver for her dear mother with dementia until her passing 3 years ago. She is also a highly skilled Acts 2 facilitator. Jackie enjoys spending time with her family and likes to fish, cook, and eat, especially seafood. Last, Tamika Norton-Brown is coordinator of the Acts 2 project. She has worked in survey development and evaluation for the past 24 years. Tamika has also served as a caregiver for her dear aunt and uncle with dementia and has a passion for helping others. She has been a great source of encouragement and support for literally hundreds of family caregivers of older adults with dementia across the state of Florida. Tamika is also a strong leader by example in her church community. During the workshop, I encourage viewers to share questions to be answered after each presentation using the text message function of Facebook Live, Instagram, or YouTube. We also will have a 20-minute question and answer period following the last presentation. And now we have Whitney Scott. Welcome, Whitney. It's so good to have you with us.
Hi, Dr. G. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. I'm happy to be here. Like Dr. G introduced, I am Whitney Scott. I am the TMH Memory Disorder Clinic Coordinator. And with the holiday season approaching, well, it's already here, it can be a little challenging for caregivers. So tonight we are going to talk about how we can make the holidays dementia friendly and what strategies to implement to make that happen. Next slide. To those who may not know, the Tallahassee Memorial Memory Disorder Clinic is grant funded by the Department of Elder Affairs as part of the statewide initiative to bring awareness and support to individuals impacted by dementia. Next slide. Over here on this slide here is an overview of our neuroscience center. We have our neurology providers, who they primarily specialize in neurological conditions, including Alzheimer's or other dementias. We have our neuropsychology providers. They perform the cognitive assessments that we sometimes utilize to determine what specific type of dementia someone may have. We also have our movement disorder clinic, which is primarily serves individuals who are living with Parkinson's disease or another type of movement disorder. And then lastly, we have the social work team, which makes up the memory disorder clinic. And so that is myself, Whitney. I'm the clinic coordinator, and I'm so happy and so fortunate to have Treva and Megan, who also serve as our clinic social workers. Next slide. Okay, so the first tip that we are going to discuss is planning for the holidays. As we all prepare for the upcoming holiday season, planning can look a little different when caring for someone with a memory disorder. Being mindful of your loved one's needs can make the holidays more enjoyable for everyone. So if you are caring for somebody who has dementia, and we are in the thrust of holiday season right now, I encourage all of my caregivers, all of those who are listening, to find ways to see how we can make adjustments but make the holidays more enjoyable. Next slide. Communicate. We always hear that communication is key. Discuss your holiday plans and boundaries with family members. For example, if your role is typically to make the turkey, consider asking someone else to assist or take over the responsibilities this year. Setting clear expectations can help ease stress. Next slide. Dementia-friendly communication with your loved one. I'm very, very, very big on treating your loved one with dementia with respect and dignity. Even as the disease progresses, it may hinder their ability to comprehend or communicate effectively. A few tips are to treat the person with dignity and respect, speak directly to the person, ask open-ended questions one at a time, allow time for them to respond, repeat what was said to ensure clarity, be patient, and offer reassurance. And then take the time to listen to their thoughts, feelings, and needs. That's very important. Next slide. Timing is everything, especially with the time change right now. It gets dark, starts getting dark around 4 or 5 o'clock. And so this time of year is very, 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 very important to make sure that you are adjusting your holiday plans. So consider celebrating earlier in the day, especially if your loved one experiences sundowning. Sundowning refers to a set of behaviors that often appear in the evening, affecting those with Alzheimer's or other forms of dementia. Symptoms can include delusions, depression, crying, anxiety, confusion, agitation, apathy, wandering, and restless. Next slide. Create a quiet place. If you are hosting a small gathering of family members at your home, my recommendation is that you establish a quiet space for your loved one, whether it's a separate room or an area away from the festivities. People who have dementia may be sensitive to loud noises, which can trigger anxiety, aggression, or confusion. If you do have your loved one, let's say you may take them to the living room area where there's no one, everyone's in the kitchen, or you may take them to their bedroom. Make sure that you are also somewhere where you can hear them if they need your help, your eyes are on them, especially if they are at risk of eloping or roaming around. It's very important that your all eyes are on them, even if you will have to separate them from where the festivities are. Next slide. It's okay to reduce the guest list. If you typically host large gatherings, consider a smaller celebration this year. Ask guests to call before arriving. And for those unable to visit in person, arrange a video or phone call to keep everyone connected. So that's the best part about technology now. And I hear this so much in the office is that a quick FaceTime video chat you can be just as important and special as if the person was there in the physical presence. Next slide. Keep everyone involved. Engage your loved one in safe and manageable holiday activities, whether that is putting the silverware on the table or saying, hey, do you mind wiping the counter off for me? Although limited mobility or cognitive decline may prevent them from doing everything, think of dementia-friendly tasks that can help them feel included. Thank you. Next slide. Dementia-friendly traveling. It is this time of year. Next slide. With the holiday season, and this is the time where most people travel, I want you to know, if you are caring for somebody with dementia, about the Hidden Disabilities Sunflower Network. Some disabilities, conditions, or chronic illnesses are not immediately visible. Dementia is one such condition. The Hidden Disabilities Sunflower Network launched in 2016. It aims to support people with non-visible disabilities. Businesses like hotels, airports, and educational institutions recognize the sunflower lanyard, which signals that the person may require extra support. Visit their website to find participating locations, and the website information will be on the slide in the bottom. Next slide. A few airports that have adopted the Hidden Disabilities Sunflower Program are the Charlotte Douglas International, Daytona Beach International, the Hartsfield Jackson Atlanta International, Jacksonville International, Orlando International, and our very own Tallahassee International Airport. Next slide. If you traveling tips, if you are traveling with your loved one for the holiday season, make reservations through a travel agency or directly with the airline to request sunflower services. Review a map of the facility in advance. This is very important, especially if your loved one is at risk of eloping. Inform TSA agents at security checkpoints of your loved one's condition. Do not hesitate to request assistance from airport employees. That is what they're here for. And to stay with your loved one at all times. So I am going to add this piece in there real quickly, as that the airports that do adopt the Hidden Disabilities Sunflower Program, once they see that there is a person wearing that sunflower lanyard, the staff should be well trained enough to know that that person will require extra assistance and support. But even with that lanyard, with the person wearing that, do not hesitate to ask for support. So if you are at the TSA check-in and you need to get the tickets out of your wallet or your purse or whatever, say, hey, is there another staff that can keep an eye on my mom while I, get everything checked in? But do not hesitate to ask for assistance. Next slide. Okay, caregiver strategies. Caregiver burnout is a state of physical, emotional, and mental exhaustion from caregiving. Common signs include fatigue, anxiety, depression, poor health, irritability, and social withdrawal. I was doing some research a few days ago on this topic to prepare for the presentation, and I saw some data that said that during the holiday season, there is an increase in high levels of caregiver burnout, which is why this presentation tonight is very important. Next slide. Ways to manage caregiver stress. Prioritize self-care. I know that this is easier said than done, but I always say to my families and caregivers that I work with is that you can't pour from an empty cup. Utilize community resources, connecting with ACTS2, connecting with other organizations who can provide support and education. Become an educated caregiver. At the Memory Disorder Clinic, we utilize resources, free materials, webinars we can connect you with to know the disease, the progression, and the symptoms to be aware of. Seek support and assistance, and acknowledge that you're doing your best. And lastly, regularly assess and manage stress levels. Next slide. Okay, so we are reaching the end of our presentation where I'm going to go over some of the community partners that we work with to support our families and caregivers living with dementia. ACTS2. So we work very closely with ACTS2. We're very fortunate to work with Dr. Glukoff and Miss Tamika Norton. And so the people who are coming to our office, the support and education, specifically African Americans, we will refer them to Ms. Tamika, who will talk further later about ACTS2 and their program services. Next slide. The Alzheimer's Association is 24/7. It is an online platform, but you can call their helpline, go on their websites for information, support. Next slide. If you live in Tallahassee, the Alzheimer's Project is a local nonprofit organization that provides support groups, caregiver education, and free respite. Next slide. And the Elder Affairs is who we are funded with the Department of Elder Affairs through the state of Florida, who they are responsible for policies and making sure there's funding in place for programs like the Memory Disorder Clinic to continue to exist. Next slide. So the next few slides are just some of the in-home care agencies or adult day stays that we partner with. We can Right at Home is one. Their next slide is Visiting Angels. We work very closely with them as well. Next slide. Hopewell In-Home Senior Care is another great agency. Next slide. And the Seasoned Relaxation Center is also a very great community partner. They're in an adult day stay. Next slide. So I want to leave you with this information here. If you have concerns about your memory or cognition, talk to your doctor. Something that I like to always compare memory symptoms to as if you are having shortness of breath every time you notice when you walk or move, you would go to the doctor, right? You should have that same urgency if you or someone you know is having signs of memory loss. Talk to your doctor. Early detection is so important. Your primary care doctor or a specialist can give you a diagnosis. So your primary care doctor will likely refer you to a neurologist who will then do a further evaluation for a diagnosis. And lastly, the Memory Disorder Clinic offers free memory screenings. So we offer baseline memory screenings as well as education, referral to resources, and support to patients and families. You do not have to be a patient of our clinic to receive our services. We operate within the big band and we are here to serve everybody who needs our services for free. Thank you. If you have any questions, I am Whitney Scott, the Memory Disorder Clinic Coordinator. My information is on the website, tmh.org/memory, as well as on this presentation. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Whitney. That was an outstanding presentation.
Thank you, Dr. G. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Comprehensive, home-based suggestions for increasing comfort during the holidays, travel, information about sunflower. You covered the beachfront.
Thank you, Dr. G.
I have a question or two for you. I can't resist.
Yes, sir.
We know that you're an avid public speaker and you're involved on at least 5 days a week in working with care partners of older adults with dementia and persons living with the condition. What kinds of questions have you received from caregivers and other family members about the holidays and how to respond, to challenging situations that may arise?
In my experience, I have had, of course, people not realizing what an adjustment has to be made. This may be something new to them. They've never, they've had their loved ones who have never had dementia. Now they have dementia. Now that they're having to wash off for sundowning, or they're having to reduce the guest list from 40 people to 10 people, or 5 at that. So I do get a lot of questions where people are asking me like, okay, do you think it's safe for mom to travel to New Jersey? Do you think, safe for that, or do you think, is there some caregiver support, or is there something that, anything we can do to help navigate? Because we all know that the holidays are stressful for just anyone, right? It's the hustle and bustle of the season, but dementia caregivers, it tends to be increased. So a lot of my questions are, wanting to ask me different questions about what they should do about making sure the holidays are safe and enjoyable. I do have questions where people are wanting to know if there's respite or maybe having additional help in the home to help with the holidays and help keep everything smooth. But it is definitely a lot of like, what do I do? What do I do? And how can I make my holidays enjoyable, but also making sure that my mom or dad or spouse or whoever is safe and making it friendly for them as well.
Wow. Well, that's so good that you're a resource for those, because it may be very challenging, especially as you're suggesting the first time around, to know, should I actually consider traveling with my loved one, with dementia? What are the challenges? What are the more or less the positive aspects of choosing to travel? And of course, the whole question about how much to take on as a caregiver.
Yes.
And here's my second question, but I think we actually have an affirmation to share with you.
Oh, okay.
At this point, we have Reverend Hill saying thank you.
Excuse me. You're welcome, Reverend Hill. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for joining us, Reverend Hill. Here's my second question. I have others, but I'll save it for the 20-minute panel discussion.
Okay.
What kinds of, when you make the suggestion for care partners to consider lowering the demands on themselves, what kind of responses do you, and this might be too general, but what are the variety of responses that you get?
The variety is resistance.
Yeah.
The variety is well, no, I can do it. I can do it. And I'm like, well, you just told me that you don't, you just told me that, you're not sure how you're going to manage the holidays or just any. And so, when I say make a suggestion, and I'm normally met with, okay, well, I'll do this instead. And of course, I'm just like, you have to do what works for you. I do have some that, will agree with me and they will implement those strategies. But I do get a lot of people who I think is more not really resistance, but still wanting to have some type of normalcy and accepting and, wanting to have mom not having dementia and all the things of the past holidays and all the memories and still wanting to have that. So there is a lot of embracing the new normal is hard for anybody. And so when I say resistance, I think the caregivers I've encountered, I don't want to say they resisted, but it was just definitely a challenge with having to accept that things are a little bit different now. And then helping them to, if they decide they want to try to, cook a 4-hour Thanksgiving dinner and they want to host other people, that's okay. But at least I can leave them with, okay, you have these strategies in place. This is the information I've emailed to you. These are the numbers you can call. If you need, support, you can call the Alzheimer's Association. If you were thinking maybe, maybe I need to have a companion aid for a few hours, you can call the Hopewell. So I can at least leave them with some type of resources. But I do get a little bit of mix of both. Some resistance, some will implement what I have to offer.
Yeah, that's so thoughtful of you. Yeah, it's hard to let go of the desire of entering fully in as a care partner into those activities, especially if that was your forte or what, but bottom line, I'm glad that you bring it to the table, and so thoughtful of you. We have other questions, as I said, Whitney. I'm going to save them for the panel discussion. Thank you, dear. And now we have Jacqueline Edwards. Jacqueline, you're muted, dear.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you, Dr. G. As Dr. G has stated, as a caregiver for my mom who had Alzheimer's, she stayed with me for the past. She died about 3 years ago, so I was also a facilitator and still am a facilitator with Acts 2 project, and I've learned quite a number of things, and I've tried to implement those things in my experience as being a caregiver, and as also as trying to help the other caregivers that were in my groups. But just a little bit about me and my mom. My niece called me one day and she said, "You need to come and see about your mama. Something ain't right." And so I said, "What's wrong with my mom? She seemed fine to me." So I went to spend the weekend with my mom and everything seemed fine. They seemed normal for me. But usually I come on the weekend, and when I come home, I'm like a servant to my mom. I usually cook, clean, go buy groceries, different things like that. So my focus was not always on some of the things that she was doing, and some of the things that she was doing them during the week when I wasn't there, such as she would get on the phone and she would call friends and church members and she would ask, "Do we have conference this week? What uniform should I wear for ushering?" And just questions that the person might not even be the appropriate person to ask. So what I decided I would do is that I would go with her to one of her doctor's appointments. And I went with her to her doctor's appointment, and the doctor told me that someone needs to stay with my mom, or either they would have to recommend that she goes into some facility. So I told him, I said, well, my mom's not in that condition to go into the facility. So I am not going to I'm not taking that route, and I'm going to do everything I can to make sure she gets the proper treatment. So I would start coming home, and I just couldn't, we just couldn't get it right to where she was able to stay at home. So I made the decision to bring her home with me. And she really didn't like that, but that was the decision that needed to be made. And some of the strategies that I've learned or utilized as being a caregiver for my mom is number one, keep things as normal as possible. My mom, she did not like too many changes. She didn't like being around a lot of unfamiliar people, and she didn't like a lot of noise. So I tried to keep things as normal for her as possible in my home, where I have sons and things are not always quiet. And I was also a member of a lot of organizations. So she was around a lot of unfamiliar people. And when I would take her to a function, I would make sure that there's someone that I've introduced her to, that she would feel comfortable around them. And for as keeping things at home normal, my mom liked to eat her 3 meals a day. So she liked the breakfast, the lunch, and the dinner. And sometimes when I'm running behind and I'm not on schedule, she might say, Jacqueline, did we have breakfast? Or she might say, I can eat something. Then I knew that it was past her time to eat. So to keep her happy and to make sure things stay calm, I would have to get in that kitchen and go on and cook her something to eat, or go to Kentucky. Just make sure that she could continue to eat on schedule, because she's kind of like me, and she was kind of like me, or we were similar in that when we didn't eat, when we were hungry, our I don't know if it was the blood sugar or what, but our continence would kind of change a little bit. So I had to make sure those things were taken care of. And also during the holidays, for example, with the Christmas holiday coming up, if my mom were still alive and I were going to have decorations up, I would make sure it's not a decoration that I would have to worry about. I wouldn't care if she broke a bulb on the ornament or something like that. So you don't want to always be trying to focus on those little things like that. You want to keep the atmosphere as calm and as joyful as possible. And another strategy that I would use is to plan ahead. Now, on my wall that's across from me, I have a whiteboard. And on that whiteboard, I would make sure that I put my phone number, my cell phone number, my work phone number, my son's numbers, some people's numbers from her hometown that she would talk to on a regular basis. So that if anything happened, she would be able to see it, and she would feel comfortable knowing that the information is there. Also, I learned this from my mom when she was home. She would always have this board, and she would have important dates and events and doctor's appointments and things of that nature on her board. So I instituted that at home too, to make sure that her doctor's appointments were there so that I could see them, also that my son could see them. And if I happened to forget, that he could remind me. If we had a party, if there was a birthday, for major holidays, things that could be physically and mentally straining, if I forgot, then we would put some of those things on the board. The third thing, I would make sure I manage shopping and gifting during the holidays. Um, so for this, I would include my mom in the process. I would ask her if there's someone she wanted to buy a gift for. I would ask her, well, what do you think we should get that person? And gifts for our family, like my brother, I would ask her if she had some ideas. Sometimes she would. It might be socks because we should get some socks. But things like that, I would also include her. And when I wrap the gift, I would also include her in the gift wrapping process. I would be wrapping the gift, have my scissors, my paper, my tape, and everything like that in front of me. And then I would have a bag of gift bowls and the cards. And what I would do is I would wrap the gift, and then I would say, Mother, what bow do you think we should put on this present? So she would just hand me a bow, and I put it on the present. And sometimes it didn't matter whether it matched or not. It was just the idea that I was including her in the process. And then when I would complete gift cards or any kind of card for the holiday, we all, everyone that was at home would sign the card. And so I would give her a pen and I would allow her to sign the card as well, because my brother, for example, when he received a gift from my mom and he saw that we all had signed it and then also saw her signature on there, he would be so excited. He would be like, Sugar, this is your signature. And she said, uh-huh. And he would just hug her and kiss her. And that just really made her day to know that she was being appreciated during the holiday and she was taking a part of the gift giving. And what I tell some of my caregivers, if they feel that they don't have the time to go out and shop, that they can always do shopping through Amazon or online shopping, and you can actually have the gifts sent to your home, or you can actually have the gifts sent directly to the recipient. So it just made life a little easier. Okay. And then also what I would do, I would have a gift box at home that I would keep year round, and I would buy little gifts and put in it and generic gifts that can go for either a man or a woman. So if an occasion came up, we had a gift that we could give. And in that box, I might ask my mom which gift do she think we should give, and just pull a gift out of that box and give it to the person and put it was from all of us. I also utilized blank greeting cards, because if an occasion came up and you didn't know and you didn't have the right card for that specific occasion, you could always write a special note in the card. And then we would also, everyone would sign it and give it to that person. So that made life a little easier. And it also allowed me to include my mom in the process. Okay, the next strategy that I utilized was to assign roles. And I know Ms. Scott, she also said something to this effect in her presentation. You can assign roles in cooking, getting others to help cook, maybe bring a special dish during the holidays, or either we might celebrate Thanksgiving at my house this year, next year, or the next holiday. We might celebrate Christmas at my niece's, or just rotate so that the responsibility doesn't fall on just one person. Now, when I incorporate my mom in the cooking process, what I usually would do if I'm making potato salad, I would get my mom the bowl with the potatoes in it, and I would have a bowl to put the potatoes in it, and I would have my knife and stuff. And I would say, Mom, give me a potato. And I would just peel that potato. And then once I finished peeling that potato, she's observing me. So when I finished peeling that potato, she would give me another potato. So I said, oh, Mom, we are doing a great job. And then when I make the potato salad and I take it to the event, I say, my mom and I prepared the potato salad. So she would be excited about hearing that she was included because my mom loved to cook. And so I'm including her, and she's smiling and going on when she hears that. When people say, oh, this potato salad is good, or whatever it is, they would say it was good. And she would say, oh, thank you. And she would be so excited to know that she helped prepare it. And my fifth point is to add simple, enjoyable activities for your loved ones. Make sure that you have something simple that they can do, something simple that makes them feel a part of the holiday, and something that everybody can join into. For example, we like to look through old photo albums. And sometimes we would do that at home, just she and I, but it's so much more exciting when you have a group of family because they can add something to what they see in the picture. They can talk about when they used to do this or why the picture was taken or what was happening. And sometimes we would sing familiar songs, and we would cook our favorite dishes. We would talk about how my mom used to love to cook cakes and how pretty they would be and how good they would taste and things like that. And she would just smile because she would remember those things. And for singing, I am not the person to be singing, but here in the house, in my immediate household, we might sing that song that says, Jesus, Jesus, oh, what a wonderful child. And my mom remembered that song and she would start singing it with us. So we would all just sing that song. So it made it exciting. And we would talk about the Christmas holiday and the things that we had planned to do, maybe the family that we were going to go and visit. And then after the holidays, my mom and I would gather all the cards up, and then we would take those cards and I would just read them to her. And I would tell her about who gave her that card. And she would remember that person. She might say something about the person that gave her the card. And my next point or my next strategy is for the caregiver. Practice self-care. That's important. You don't want to get burnt out. When someone asks you to do something, you might want to say, I'm sorry, but I can't do that. It's no harm in saying no. If you're a really busy person and you're in a lot of organizations, you might get asked to do a number of things, but you can say no sometimes. And especially if it's an event that your mom can't be included in. Schedule fun times that require a little preparation, like have a family movie night. My mom was 100 when she died, and so we would need to watch a lot of the older movies that she would enjoy and that she could relate to. So we would watch movies like Gunsmoke, and we would watch Andy Griffin, Fred Sanford, different pictures like that, something that she could relate to and that we could laugh at, that were enjoyable to her. And we would also institute getting outside. You need the vitamin D. So I would take her outside. She used to love to fish. So I would take her fishing. I still love to fish. And I would remind her sometimes. I said, my dear, you remember when we had to get up and we had to go fishing all day long? And we did not like to fish. And now here it is. I love to fish, but I take you fishing And in about 30 minutes, you're ready to go home. So, and she would just laugh, And my brother, he likes to fish. So we would take her fishing. That was a family thing that we could do. And even those that didn't like to fish might go, and we would just sit and talk and entertain each other, so that we're having that family bonding time. But the important thing about that is that all of those items were basically free, and it didn't stress your budget or anything. So we enjoyed things, having things, activities of that nature. Traveling tips. I basically, when I traveled to see my son and my brother in Jacksonville, it was just my mom and I. But I would keep her engaged by saying that where we're going. I would make sure I start early, saying who, what, when, where. Those are questions that we would ask as facilitators for for problem solving. But I also use them when we travel, because I would start early, telling her where we're going, who we're going to see, when we're going, when we're coming back. And I do that several times, because my mom, if she saw you with a suitcase and just taking her somewhere, she might think that you're taking her to a nursing home or somewhere, something like that. So I didn't want her to think along those lines. I always wanted to make sure she knew where we were going, when we were going, and when we were coming back. My next tip is remember the good times. If your loved one is at the advanced stage of dementia, what you can do is remember the good times. Remember when your mom was younger. Remember when you all used to do fun things. Remember those things, and it will make your caregiving journey a whole lot easier. You won't focus on the different things that she is encountering now. You can always have a smile on your face, because you're remembering when things were so much, much better. And my last tip, but definitely not the least of the things that I would like to suggest, comes from the Bible. And it's James 1, 2, and 3. It says, "Consider it all joy, my brethren and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds." And if you have a loved one that has Alzheimer's is a progressive disease. So it's going to get worse. And what you should do, according to the scripture, is consider it joy, because you were selected to be the one to take care of your mom. And when you put it in your mind that it's a joyful occasion, that this is something joyful to do, you won't be as stressed as a caregiver. And things won't bother you as much when life gets more demanding, and when your parent, your loved one maybe doesn't recognize you, and they can't do many things for themselves. If you just consider it to be joy, then it'll make the process much easier. God will help us do more than we can ever imagine that we can do. A lot of my caregivers, after they've come through different phases of helping their loved one, they say it's not as bad as I thought it was. God gives us the ability to do what we think is impossible. Thank you.
Wow, that was an encyclopedia of helpful activities and thoughtful approaches to ensuring comfort and joy during the holidays. Oh my Lord, that was excellent, Jackie. Thank you. Yeah, it's just planning ahead, gifts, all the way from purchasing to card signing, and it was uh, simple activities, self-care, traveling tips. Wow. Here's John Agins has an affirmation for you. Thank you, Dr. Agins. I'm impressed with how many wonderful
you.
strategies have been covered in this format. Thank you so much, John, for that affirmation. Oh, Carolyn Rhines, there you go. Great job, Auntie. So glad that you're with us, Carolyn.
Thank you.
Reverend Hill, thank you.
Reverend Hill.
Got your fan club here, Jacqueline. Well, at any rate, I'll ask you a question. This really struck me. Do you have any other suggestions for simple activities that you've used, since you're the encyclopedia person? What other simple activities have you included in the holiday activities that you thought were effective for the family and friends, and of course for your mom with dementia?
Well, a very simple activity for the holidays because some of my family did not want travel to Tallahassee or to where my mom was living with me. We would do a Zoom. We would set up several Zooms so that my mom could see them, and she would, she was 100, so she's like, "There's Junior, there's Denise." It was something very exciting for her, and each person had opportunity to wish her well during the holiday.
Oh, that's so helpful. Jacqueline, I'm going to move on, and I have 5 or 6 additional questions that I'm going to ask you during the panel presentation.
Okay.
Thank you so much. That was inspiring, very inspiring what you shared with us, and so helpful. And now we have Tamika Norton-Brown. Welcome, Tamika. We're so thankful you're with us and appreciate what you do for Acts 2 as Acts 2's project coordinator.
Good evening, everyone. What I'm going to do is to provide information on our Acts 2 program of services. You can go to the next slide. Okay. For our Acts 2 program, we offer 3 major types of services. The first is our faith-integrated group skills training and support for distressed African-American caregivers of older adults with dementia across Florida. That's our 12-session program, which I'll give a bit more information on in a moment. We do dementia awareness presentations and workshops at faith, community, and elder care venues, as well as, like we're doing tonight, through social and print media that reaches across Florida and the U.S. We also provide individual telephone-based problem-solving and information and referral consultations, and that service is available to all dementia caregivers and other stakeholders across Florida and the U.S. Next slide, please. For our 12-session program, let me also state that every single service we provide in Acts 2 is absolutely free. So no caregiver, no organization will ever incur any cost in receiving services from us. In order to qualify for our 12-session program, you must be Black or African American, Black Caribbean, residing within the state of Florida, providing 6 hours of caregiving, and that 6 hours can mean that you're going by and doing medications, doctor's appointments. We count all of that as caregiving and relative, but we loosely define relative. So I always tell people you can be related by blood or you can be related by love. Now, our Acts 2 program includes 7 group skills building. So we pair 3 caregivers in a group and 5 individual sessions. All of those sessions are delivered weekly over toll-free telephone by trained lay pastoral care facilitators like Ms. Jackie, who we have here tonight. In those individual sessions with the facilitator, they focus on goal setting and problem solving to address those concerns identified by the caregivers. So we're in the holiday season, like we're talking about holidays tonight. Maybe one of the goals that the person may want to work on is maybe holiday related. But so they would have those individual sessions, 5 sessions, to work with their facilitator to come up with some strategies to help achieve those goals. Next slide, please. Our program consists of 6 major components. The first is an overview of the basic characteristics of dementias. So I call that Dementia 101. Every caregiver that comes into our program receives relaxation training that's combined with calming prayer and or meditation. You hear us talk a lot about prayer and meditation and faith sharing. So Acts 2 is a faith-based program, which means that we have woven those elements into the program, but we're also ecumenical. So if a person is questioning their faith or does not profess a particular faith, it will not prevent us from providing services to them. So we do effective thinking about the challenges of caregiving coupled with scripture. Just being able to change the way that you're thinking about your caregiving situation. Next slide, please. We also have my favorite module. I call it the Me Time module, but it's building in pleasant daily activities as a guard against emotional distress. Just negotiating, hey, can I get 30 minutes to take a walk or go and listen to my favorite type of music? We also work with our caregivers on communicating effectively, not only with the care partner with dementia, but with family and health professionals. And then lastly, developing those effective problem solving skills through personal goal setting. Next slide, please. When we talk about dementia awareness training, which is a service that we provide, our Acts staff members will deliver both in-person and virtual dementia awareness training to family caregivers and other interested parties. And some of the example topics that we cover. We talk about the basic information about the characteristic and stages of dementia. So what is dementia? What are the different stages? What are the signs? What are the symptoms? We also talk about risk factors for Alzheimer's disease and related conditions, and then strategies for preventing or delaying the onset of dementia. Next slide, please. For our individual problem-solving consultations. So 1 or 2 problem-solving sessions delivered over toll-free telephone by an Acts 2 staff member. That caregiver will prioritize 1 or 2 goals, and we work with them in developing an action plan. So some of the more common problems that we work with caregivers on is they're having difficulties with bathing and hygiene. They're having challenges getting their loved one to eat, and then difficulty getting help from family members. Next slide, please. For our information and referral consultations, 1 or 2 INR sessions also delivered over toll-free telephone by an Acts 2 staff member. That caregiver will prioritize their INR goal, and we work with them in developing an action plan. So some of the more common information and referral concerns, they want to be able to identify affordable caregiving services. They want to find culturally responsive adult daycare centers. So they want a daycare center where there may be people who share the same interests that they share, maybe from the same background. Want to know, are there activities that will be provided at that daycare center? They also want to locate effective estate planning assistance. Next slide, please. We've included some dementia care resources. There is the Florida Department of Elder Affairs. There's the Alzheimer's Association. There's the Alzheimer's Foundation of America, the Elder Helpline, the Elder Care Locator, and there's the Alzheimer's Disease Education and Referral Center. Next slide, please. Interested caregivers can learn more about Acts 2 by phone, email, or through the web. You can contact us toll-free 1-866-778-2724. My local cell phone number, local to Tallahassee, 850-274-4945. You can also call that toll-free number and it will route to my cell phone number. My email address, tnnorton@fsu.edu. You can send us a message here on Facebook on our Acts 2 Caregiver Project page. We also have a website, www.x2project.org. And what we're now going to do is take you on a tour of our website. So if you would bring the website up, please. If you would click on Program of Services. On our Program of Services page, it provides information on all of the services that Acts 2 provides. If you're interested in the 12 session support program, it tells you what to expect. It tells you what you will learn. Scroll down a bit, please. And also from these pages, you are also able to sign up today. So after each section, like I talked about the problem solving consultations, if you're interested, you can always hit that sign up today button, enter your information, and that will route to my email. If you would, it also talks about our information and referral services as well. If you would go back up and click on Caregiver Resources. On our Caregiver Resources page, you will be able to go in under live webinars and to get the links to all of the workshops that we have done in the past. We also include prayers and readings. There's information on basics of dementia, information on your caregiver well-being, caregiver skills. There is a ton of information that is provided on the Caregiver Resources page. So I'm always encouraging caregivers, even if it's something that you're just not quite sure about, maybe that your loved one is having a problem with sleep, you can go under Caregiver Skills and there's information there as well. If you will click on Donate, please. Okay. On the Donate portion of our website, it just has information on how Acts 2 is funded. And if you're interested in making a donation, you can click that button. You can click those buttons, and it will take you to the appropriate pages for that as well. If you will go back up and click on Contact at the top. If you are interested in either signing up for our Acts 2 project, or if you have questions, either about information that we provided, something you see on our website, or just a caregiving question in general, please fill out the contact page. It will route to my email address, and a member of our staff will be back in touch with you. Thank you so much for that tour of our website. And what we are now going to do is bring everyone back up, and we will have our panel discussion.
Wow, we have the dynamic quartet right here. That was so good. Thank you, Tamika. Excellent overview for Acts 2 and the Acts 2 website. Thank you, Esperance, who's behind the scenes, our social media coordinator, and Melissa Powell for organizing the slides, and for Espy for you doing the tour and managing the entire production. At any rate, we do have a response here, or we have a question. Many of the home care agencies send home care support by people not trained to work with people with dementia. How do we guarantee getting a, that's an excellent question. How can we guarantee getting a qualified person? Let's start with you, Whitney Scott, as memory disorder clinic coordinator.
Thank you, Dr. Z. That is a very good question. It is a question I get all the time. And to be honest with you, I do let our families and caregivers we work with, I did recommend a few agencies on the presentation, but I always tell them, do your research. The first thing you want to do is you want to make sure that I have a list. If anybody wants to, I have a list of the questions that I give caregivers, and you can ask about, or are your workers certified, ADRD certified, Alzheimer's disease related dementia training. As much information as you can get. Do Google reviews, Facebook, ex family, friends. Did you or someone use this agency in the past? But the very thing I always tell them, I said, ask them what type of training or certification. Most of those agencies are required to undergo a specific training. We do know that in some cases that there are some workers who are hired and who may not have that training, because we are in a shortage of, we're in a crisis right now where there is more need for caregivers and companions aides. And so I definitely tell people to do your research, do your vetting, ask around, go on Google, Medicare.gov, anything you can do to get your research. And definitely ask those questions. So if anybody wants a list of those questions, a checklist, feel free to email me. I'm more than happy to provide that to you.
Thank you. And I do believe that we've circulated to those who've registered, Whitney, your PowerPoint presentation that includes your contact information. But folks, what you can do, you could enter into the chat right now, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube, any request that you have for Whitney Scott's information, and we'll do our best to record your name and contact information and get that material to you. Other thoughts, Jacqueline, Tamika, about this question of having qualified persons and how to ensure that that's done from your experiences, that you have that kind of person involved in caring for your loved one with, or loved ones with dementia.
I agree with Whitney. And I also would recommend that you ask family and friends that have gone through that process of vetting people, and recommendations, and also do your research and treat it as though you were going to the doctor yourself. Ask the questions that you feel that are important. Make sure you take notes of what that person says. When you take your loved one to the doctor, tell the doctor what kind of person, what questions you got, what answers you got to your questions, and allow them to give you maybe some questions to ask, or either recommend somebody else. But you need to be satisfied with the service that you're getting, because it's your loved one. And I believe that you should treat them as though your loved one, as though they were a child at that point, because they can't ask the appropriate questions for themselves. So you go through all that process as though it were your child. What questions would you ask? What would your expectations be if it was a child?
T, do you want to add anything?
Sure. I agree with both Whitney and Jackie in terms of asking questions. And I would also add to that, to be assertive. If a person comes into your home and there's an expectation that they perform X, Y, and Z, and you are watching and you see that they're not doing what they're supposed to do, don't feel that you have to just accept less than what you're supposed to have. Reach back out to that agency and say, hey, this isn't working. I thought that this person had blah, blah, blah. You just have to be assertive and making sure that you receive the service that you have requested, and that your loved one is going to be taken care of in the manner that you would like for them to be taken care of. There is no harm in asking. When I'm calling for people and asking questions, when I'm doing information and referral or problem solving, and I would also love to have a list of those questions from Whitney, but I ask questions. I ask a follow-up question to that question, And I just keep asking until I'm satisfied. And it's okay for you to even ask to say, hey, can I see your certification? You told me that the person coming into my home has worked with dementia um, patients before, that they've worked with other loved ones. What can you bring me a list of families that you worked with before? And it's okay for you to call those families and say, hey, Tamika said she worked with you. Can you tell me about what that experience was? You can also say, you told me you were certified. Can I see a copy of your certificate? Those are well within your rights for a person coming into your home. So I would just say advocate for your loved one, be assertive, and get the information that you need.
Great job, Tamika. Thank you. That was so helpful. I'm going to shift now to a question that actually touched my heart and I thought was very provocative. And that you, this question is a suggestion that you brought to the table, Jacqueline. You mentioned the gifts and involving your mom in the gifts, and and from the beginning point in selecting gifts to wrapping, signing, it was very comprehensive. Can you talk a little bit more, folks, about the Jackie? We'll start with you. Uh, Tell us more about how gifts have been an important component of the holiday experience with your loved one with dementia and other family members. I really honestly didn't give that much thought until, Jacqueline, you brought that to the table. What are your thoughts, folks, about the importance of gifts and involving your loved one? And, what meaning does that have for you? We've been former caregivers ourselves, and some of us are active caregivers. Your thoughts about it?
Well, it's more blessed to give than to receive. So, with my mom, when when she would give you a gift, you can see how much she was would hoping that it's something that you would like, and how much enjoyment it gave her just from giving. It didn't have to be, if you said you liked her cake and she could bake a cake, she would bake you a cake. It didn't have to be any major thing. It was just the act of giving. And as far as her receiving the gift, um, I sometimes she wouldn't open it herself. She would want us to sit and open the gift for her. And then we would open the gift and say, oh, see, this is what your son gave you. And we would take the card and we would open up the card. And if it was some money in it, she'd have a big smile. But we would open the card and we would read it to her. And she would say, oh, Junior gave me this. Oh, Denise gave me this. So not only would she look at it at that moment, but she would go back later and she would just be looking at her gifts and she would be appreciating them. And maybe for Christmas in January, when we're sitting around and we're not doing much, I can pull out all the cards that she received and I can just sit with her and we can read through those cards. Because when she has a card and a gift, she's focusing on the gift. But when she has just a card, then we're focusing on the card and who gave her the card. So it keeps her mind in tune with different family and friends. And if she doesn't seem to remember that person, I would say a couple of things to help her remember them.
That's beautiful. Tamika, your reflections, please.
In my caregiving experience, I would use the holidays as a time to kind of deepen my connection with my aunt. She was also a gift giver, given to people. She was in a wheelchair. And for me, it was important to keep her involved in the process. So even though she was in the wheelchair, we'd still be out there wheeling around Walmart, the Dollar Tree, wherever we needed to go so she could be a part of the process. And like Jackie said, for me, it was not so much about the actual gift itself. It was about the fact that she's there, she's participating, she's touching the things, she's looking at the things, we're talking about the things. And so it was reaffirming that although my loved one may have dementia, although my loved one may be in a wheelchair, although my loved one may have limitations, my loved one is here in this present moment, and we have the opportunity to make a memory. We have an opportunity to be reminded of all of the love and all of the joy that is still there. So for me, it was more about, okay, she's still here, she's still present. We're going to do these things. And a lot of times we would come out of the store with nothing but bubble gum because that's the last thing she picked up. But it didn't matter that we, been in Walmart for 2 hours and came out with bubble gum. It was the fact that for those 2 hours, we looked at all of the pretty things and we talked about all of the things, and she touched the things. That was what was most important to me. So for me, that's how you get joy out of this holiday season, that it's about the coming together. It's about the acknowledging that, yes, there may be some limitations, but there's a lot of strength that's there. There's a lot that people with dementia can still do. And we, as their caregivers, their loved ones, their community, just have to be supportive in that and let them do the things that they can do, and the things they need help with, we help them. So the holidays is a great time to do that.
Whitney, your thoughts, please, dear.
Ms. Jackie, I was very impressed. You actually gave me some things I need to offer my caregivers. They were really great tips. I was like, wow, like I did not, I mean, the gift and the cards, and I was really, really, really impressed. So thank you. You gave me some tips to take with me to work tomorrow. But I love that you were creative and finding ways to include your mom. And even in the moments where she has dementia, she's having a decline in her memory, but it meant so much for her to sit there and a card that someone wrote to her, or sitting there and wrapping presents. We do talk about, to families, like the good photo albums, to look at photos and old pictures and memories of loved ones that, that they have gone, or, just to kind of keep them involved and engaged. And so I really want to say thank you. I was writing down while you were talking these things that I can take with me to my caregivers. They were very, very, very insightful, and definitely, I definitely encourage a caregiver to implement that during the holiday season.
Yeah, I just wanted to share that. Really, what you did, Jackie, and the comments that were made by the entire group suggest that we can create opportunities for our loved ones with dementia to show their gifts, not physical gifts, but their spiritual gifts, their capacity to connect, their social prowess and interacting with other family members. All of that, as you were talking, Jackie, I could just see it. All of that, those qualities that may not be obvious during other times, come to the forefront. It just needs to be created for holidays, but it could be a strategy that we incorporate generally in social interactions that involve our loved ones with dementia, where we provide the conditions for them to shine, not only for the opportunities for themselves to feel fulfilled, but also to show the family members, that your loved one with dementia is someone who contributes significantly to the welfare and well-being of the family with dementia, as they did without dementia. And so that I think that was very poignant, Jackie, of the gifts. the gifts themselves are much less important than what happens before and after getting the gift and the interactions that occur in those among family members and the person with dementia, caregiver, during those times. Very, very thoughtful. I'll switch to another question. I'm really touched by this particular area, the gift giving. Didn't give it any thoughts before you spoke today. Sorry about my inadequacy in that area. Bottom line, just wanted to talk more about self-care strategies. Jackie and Whitney emphasized those significantly in their presentations. I'd like to talk, really talk to you, Tamika, a little bit, get your response on self-care strategies that you think might be helpful for care partners of loved ones with dementia during the holidays. I know, you have an expertise around family interactions during the holidays. Your thoughts when it comes to being a care partner of a loved one with dementia?
My tip would be first and foremost to breathe. It can be extremely overwhelming when you think about the process of it's the holidays, there are expectations that come with the holidays. So the first thing you have to do is stop and breathe and realize that, you know, in this space, in the holiday season, we get so wrapped up in, well, we got to make sure this is just so and that is just so, that we lose sight of the importance. When the most important thing is that you're able to be there with your family, you're able to be there with your loved one. Schedule timeouts. That's what I have to do. I have to schedule timeouts, time when I can just step away, even if it's just going in my garage looking for Christmas decorations, which is what I did today. Sometimes you just have to step away to get away from the noise, and then you're able to recenter yourself. I always think about it, it's like a boxing match. And you watch the boxers, they go into the ring, they fight around, then they go to their corners, they take a break, rejuvenate, then they get back up and they fight again. It's that same type of thing. You can't be gassed 24/7. You can't just go. There at some point you're gonna have to pump the brakes and realize that you're so busy as caregivers. We're so busy trying to make sure that all the things are taken care of that we forget about the joy of the season. We forget to take a minute to enjoy the meal that we spent all day cooking and preparing. We forget that we have gifts under the tree as well that need to be opened. But we're so busy doing all of the other things. And so my advice is always to understand that we're human. There's only so much that we can do. We get tired. We're not robots. And so it is okay to take a physical and a mental break. I take mental breaks throughout the day. There are times where I just turn my brain off. And even if it's just for 30 seconds or a minute, I clock complete. I could be in a room full of people, but I completely clock out because I have to just take that mental reset. And it's okay. It's okay to do that. It's okay to engage in self-care to make sure that you are doing the very best you can to take care of yourself so that you can do the things that you want to do for your loved ones.
Thank you, T. That was so thoughtful. We do have a question from Colleen Williams for the panel. Does the Acts 2 project, oh, I get it. Oh, actually for Tamika, does the Acts 2 project or program of services extended to Atlanta, Georgia? T.
Yes, Ms. Williams, we do have services that cover nationwide. Our 12 session program is primarily for those caregivers in Florida, but our brief problem solving and information and referral can be for any person, regardless of race, regardless of location. So if there's something, I know that we emailed earlier, if there is something that you need my assistance with, please don't hesitate to reach out, and I'll absolutely help in whatever capacity that I can.
Thank you. I know that we're sort of rounding the bend here. I apologize, Jackie and Whitney, for not engaging you with the self-care questions, although I think both of you emphasized that in your presentations. We'd like to get a final thought today from each of you before we close the workshop. Please, let's start with Whitney.
Thank you, everyone. So I've never been a caregiver. Um, I do not know what that experience is like. I can only speak for the professional side of supporting caregivers. But the one thing I always like to leave every caregiver that I come in contact with is to give yourself grace. To give yourself grace, to know that your best is good enough. The Memory Disorder Clinic, our services, our social work services are free to the community. You do not have to be a patient of the actual memory clinic, the neurology office. We are here for you. We operate as a social work helpline. You can call us during our working hours. I've literally had caregivers call me, laugh, to cry, to tell me that they did a self-care activity that we talked about the week before. That know that you have a team of people, a community that's here for you. And I want to say thank you to the Acts 2 team, Ms. Jackie, Ms. Esperance behind the scenes. Thank you for having us here. And like I said, if you're a caregiver, I want you to give yourself grace. You can't pour from an empty cup. Implement the strategies. Take the time. If you need to come and call me and we can create a plan together. I've done that with caregivers. We've created a self-care plan. Anything that I can do to help, that's what I'm here for. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Whitney. Jacqueline Edwards, final thought?
I think for me as a caregiver, just to be thankful that you had the opportunity to spend that time with your loved one. Don't worry about if the Christmas tree don't get put up, or as Whitney was saying, give yourself grace. Focus on what matters the most. Don't really think about perfection. Perfection can go out the door. If something doesn't get done, it just doesn't get done. But just make sure that you spend quality time with your loved one, and you engage them as much as possible, because we really don't know how much they're comprehending. So we would just try to make sure we include them as much as possible.
Thank you, Jacqueline. Tamika?
My final thought to caregivers is just remember that you matter too. Remember that you are important as well. And do the best that you can. And when you get to a point that you need help, don't hesitate on reaching out. And if you don't know who to call, reach out to me, 1-866-778-2724. And we will do the best that we can to help you along this journey.
Thank you, T. I wanted to thank the audience participants, your high level of engagement in asking questions and providing affirmations. I just want to express my appreciation to each one of you for joining us this evening. A little bit of thinking ahead. Our next workshop will focus on palliative care, what to know about the wide range of services offered, and how to access this important healthcare option. So please follow our Acts 2 Facebook Live site for information about the date for this upcoming workshop on palliative care. And now we'll say good evening. Have a very blessed holiday. We're grateful for our panel, grateful for you, and thank God for the opportunity to share holiday tips with one another to enhance the quality of life of persons with dementia and their caregivers and family members. Have a blessed evening.